All right. Okay, guys. Sorry I couldn't be here today, but we are still going to move forward here. I think you're going to find that in addition to the 6 characteristics that we worked on in class on Friday, the 3 we're going to talk about today really are just going to be as easy as the 6, hopefully as easy as the 6 that we worked on Friday. It seemed like we were doing a really good job of them in class on Friday. So, like I said, we've got a couple more characteristics to talk about when we're talking about the graphs of the solutions of our polynomial functions here. So actually 2 of these you already know because we've talked about them before. Here, let me make sure I have a good pen size here working here. All right, we're in business. That is the leading coefficient, right? This is the coefficient of the term with the highest, well, that's not spelled correctly. Let's try that again. Highest degree. All right, so, and it should be written in descending order, so that really means whatever coefficient you see coming first, that's the leading coefficient. And we'll talk about how that affects the graph here in just a little bit. All right, now the degree, right, the degree of a polynomial is the largest sum of exponents of variables of a term. Right? So we look at all of the terms of in our polynomial, whichever one has variables with the sum that is the largest, exponents, sum of the exponents which is the largest, that's the degree of the whole polynomial. Again, we'll talk about how that actually affects the graph here and why that's important just a little bit. Now, the last thing we got to talk about is end behavior. All right, and end behavior simply means what is the graph doing as you go all the way to the left to negative infinity and all the way to the right to positive infinity. So what does the graph do as x approaches positive infinity or negative infinity? So as your x coordinates, your horizontal axis approaches positive infinity, right? And that would be going to the right on your graph, or negative infinity, meaning the left. What is your graph doing? And this is pretty easy because you really only have 2 options. Either your graph is going up and to the right or down and to the right, and either your graph is going up and to the left or down and to the left. All right, so let's take a look at really the 4 options that we have with end behavior and how the leading coefficient and the degree of your polynomial affect your end behavior. All right, so if we're talking about end behavior, as we go to the right and the left, one option is that your graph, just like a parabola, could end going up to the left and could end going up to the right. Right? If your graph ends both directions going up, what this means is first that your degree is even. The only time we will end with our end behaviors going the same direction is if the degree is even. The only time we will end with our end behaviors both going up is if the leading coefficient is a positive number. Right? So a graph where we have an end behavior going up to the left and up to the right has to have a degree that's even and a leading coefficient that's positive. Well, what's the other option there? Right? That we have a graph where it's going down to the left and down to the right. Well, our degree still has to be even because the graph is ending the same direction here. All right. But now our leading coefficient, because they're both going down, is actually going to be a negative number. So we can know exactly how our graph has to end before we ever even look at the graph, just based on whether the degree is even and whether the leading coefficient is positive or negative. All right. So what happens, though, if the degree is odd? Well, if the degree is odd, then our end behavior is going to be the opposite directions. So, for example, we could have an end behavior that ends going up to the left, but down and to the right. So now, because our end behavior is opposite of each other, our degree is going to be odd. All right. Now, here's how we have to determine, though, our leading coefficient. As we look at the general trend of this graph from left to the right, does this graph, do these data points look like they are generally increasing or generally decreasing from left to right? Well, hopefully we can see that as I kind of trace this little marker here going down, if it was a roller coaster, we are going downhill here, right? So this would mean our leading coefficient for a graph like this would be negative. All right, so if we do kind of the opposite here, now I'm going up and to the right and down when I go to the left. Degree is still odd, right, because they're going in opposite directions. But now you can see the trend of my points here is going up from left to right. So this would mean my leading coefficient is positive. All right, so take a second, take that all in, because in a second here we're going to look at some examples and actually decode from the graph what the degree is, what the leading coefficient is, and then describe the end behavior there. Again, I think if we can reference this and make sure we lock down this information in our memory, these problems are going to be pretty easy here. So let's go and look at our first example. So as we look at this graph, as we look at this parabola, what is the degree? Well, we can see that both end behaviors are going up. Since they are going the same direction, that means our degree has to be even. And again, because they're going up, their leading coefficient has to be positive there. Now, how do we describe this end behavior then? An even positive graph would lead our end behavior to be going up and right, and we are going up and left. You don't need any fancy symbols or anything. As long as you're describing that as we go to the right, we go up, and left, we go up, however you really want to phrase it, we're good to go. All right, so let's take a look at this one now. Here we can see clearly we're going up to the right and down to the left. So our end behaviors are opposite of each other, so that means it's odd. Now, as we look at the trend of this graph here, we can see that even though we kind of go up and down at times, as we go all the way from one end behavior to the other, left to right, we can see that it's going up. So it's positive. So our end behavior, we are going up and right, but we are going down and left. All right, up and right, down and left. Looks good. All right, next one here. Degree being even or odd. So I'll give you a second to think. Even or odd? Hopefully you chose even, right? Going the same direction. Positive or negative? Hopefully you said negative because they're both going down. So we can probably just combine this and say down for both left, let's get a T in there, and right. That would be a good description of the end behavior. Last one here, we can see, again, they're opposite of each other. So this is odd. As we follow the points, the graph, we can see we trend down from left to right. So this is negative. So we can say we're going up and left. We are going down and right. Again, however you want to phrase that end behavior, as long as we can tell from your wording that you understand what the end behavior of the graph is doing, we're going to be in good shape. All right, so once you finish these notes, once you've gotten everything kind of written down here, you're going to have your homework worksheet to work on, where you will not only be doing the 3 characteristics we worked on in these notes, we'll be combining that with the 6 that we learned in the last set of notes, and have our kind of full plethora of characteristics of our polynomial, the graphs of our polynomial functions. Again, if you have any questions, any confusion on this, hold those questions, and I will be happy to talk about them when we meet together tomorrow, actually on Thursday. I think tomorrow you guys are having a practice SAT. So we will see you on Thursday to answer any questions, or if you want to come outside of class tomorrow to meet with me or go to the mark to get those questions answered, that would be great as well. All right, well, hope you guys have had a great day, and hopefully this video was helpful. We'll see you later.